You announced £45 billion in tax cuts last year. There's been economic chaos ever since. What are you doing to fix this mess?
Well, I think we need to, first of all, remember the situation we were facing going into this winter, which is people were facing fuel bills of up to £6,000, an economic slowdown and very high inflation. And the decisive action we have taken means that no family will be facing a typical fuel bill of more than £2,500, not just for this year, but also next year. We're also helping businesses, and we've also taken decisive action to reduce the tax burden, to make sure we grow the economy, and our energy package also helps reduce inflation by up to 5 points. And it was right to take that immediate action. Otherwise, people will be facing a very, very difficult economic situation this winter.
The thing is, though, people are very, very concerned. I think we'd be right in saying terrified in some parts where we live. We like to put real questions to people there, and we've taken some of those questions. We just want to play you this question, this little bit of audio from Diane from Gisborough talking about the cost of living. Take a listen to this.
I've had to sell my house. I've lived there for 25 years, and I know the expense now is getting to the point where I can no longer afford to live there.
You mentioned taking these tax cuts. I mean, that's basically going to be in favour of the wealthiest people. People like Diane, who can no longer afford to live in the house that she's been in for decades. What help do you offer her?
Well, first of all, everybody has been offered help with their fuel bills. And that was our priority because people were facing appalling fuel bills. And that was the biggest part of the economic package that we put forward on Friday.
But can I ask, can I just interrupt there a moment? How are tax cuts for the wealthiest going to help the people who are nowhere near wealthy? How is that going to help, Diane?
Well, we are cutting taxes across the board because we were facing the highest tax burden on Britain for 70 years, and that was causing a lack of economic growth. And without growth, we don't get the investment, we don't get the jobs we need, which helps local communities right around the country. We're also reversing the increase in national insurance. We're also reducing the basic rate. So we're reducing taxes across the board because the tax burden was too high.
What kind of message would you like to give to people who are struggling in this crisis, who are struggling with their mortgages and are going to be so more after everything that's happened with the mini budget and indeed pensions as well? Lots of confusion and scared people over pensions. They're going to be worthless.
Well, what I'm saying is that the government has taken decisive action to help families and businesses with their energy bills this winter. And we've also taken decisive action to get the economy growing and get Britain moving. And that is what ultimately will help all of us pay our bills.
But what kind of decisive action, Prime Minister? Because your decisive action so far has knocked 40% off people's pensions. So what decisive action are we talking about here?
We are facing a global economic crisis following Putin's appalling war in Ukraine. And what I am about is about making sure that British people are protected from that, first of all, by supporting with their energy bills. And the biggest part of our package on Friday was the energy price guarantee. That is the biggest part of what we put in to that mini budget. But also, if we have higher taxes going into difficult economic times, that is likely to lead to a recession. Right. And my concern is I want people to stay in jobs. I want people to be able to earn higher wages. And that was why it was important that we took action on tax. We're also taking action on getting roads built quicker, getting our broadband rolled out quicker, getting our mobile phone signal working, all of those things that will help drive economic growth. But as Prime Minister, I have to be prepared to take tough decisions. And that's what I'm prepared to do.
Well, can I ask you...
These decisions will make sure that we see lower inflation than we would have done. Our energy package is predicted to reduce inflation by 5%, and also make sure that we are seeing the economic growth that we need to sustain our country in the future.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just want to get this question in because it's something that is very close to us and we are running out of time. Child poverty, lots of questions about that sent in to us on Twitter. Your government has been in charge for 12 years. In that time, child poverty has increased in the North East. What are you doing about that?
Well, the number one thing we need to do to help deal with the issues that families face is to help more people get into work and create those high-paid jobs. And that is exactly what our mini budget is about. It's about getting Britain moving, it's about getting the infrastructure built, and it's about attracting investment around our country, including into the North East.
We've had lots of questions in about the sea life deaths on the North East coast. Are you committed to another investigation and really sorting that problem?
I would need to look into that issue, to be honest.
Right. You haven't already then?
No, I haven't. I know that the Environment Agency are looking at the issues, but I will certainly be raising that with the Environment Secretary.
Right, we've got 10 seconds left. Any message at all you want to leave with our listeners this morning?
The message I want to leave is we are facing tough times. This is a difficult period for the world, but I am determined to make sure that we support people through this winter and we help boost the economy so that we can deliver jobs and growth right across the country.
Liz Truss, thank you so much for your time this morning.